Puritanism. What is Puritanism? Puritanism was the beliefs of a group of English Protestants of the late 16th and 17th centuries who regarded the reformation of the church under Elizabeth I as incomplete and sought to simplify and regulate forms of worship. The term first emerged in the 1560s. Facts 1. When did they arrive? The arrival of Puritans had a long-lasting effect on America. In 1630, around 80,000 Puritans left England and Europe for the New World, America. Most of them came from Eastern England. Ways of living. Some of the most important parts of Puritanism were dressing simply, living a modest life, and piety, obeying religious rules. Facts Part 2. What did they do? The greater part of Puritans were tradesmen or skilled craftsmen rather than farmers. They were also wealthy enough to pay for their own passage, and migrated in small family groups. Reference. In the book Q for Treason by Geoffrey Trees, it is said that after they got kicked out of a town, the reason for it was because the Puritans didn't like the play that we're rehearsing, or at all. They didn't like plays at all back then. There weren't really any more references in the book other than a few times that they mentioned the word Puritan quickly in a sentence. Puritan life. Settlement. A typical Puritan family would live in a small house that usually consisted of only one room. They would sleep on a makeshift bed near the fireplace. Since there was only one room, the house would tend to become smoky often. General stuff. What did the kids do? The kids of the Puritan family would be sent out with their parents to learn how to farm and do other work for money so that later in life they would know how to sustain a home and a family. Puritan parents would make it a priority to have their children have good educations and to study the Bible often. Their literacy rates were unusually high. Gender roles. Puritan men thought they were the stronger gender. They would do all the farming, repairing, and would care for the livestock. The Puritan society and politics were dominated by men. The women made soap, cooked, gardened, and took care of the house and children. History. Puritans didn't like the way that English churches practiced religion. They opposed anything that wasn't related to the Bible. Non-Puritans thought it was unreasonable of them to do so. Therefore, the government started to counteract their influence. History 2. Law. The Puritans wanted to outlaw anything non-religious like drinking and playing sports on Sundays. The authorities were suspicious of people who traveled. The vagabonds were whipped and Quakers were imprisoned for their evangelism. The Puritans were minorities, but the government couldn't ignore them. They would criticize the church. The government made it illegal for separatists to meet outside of church. Power of the word. From 1640 to 60, Puritans dominated church and state. They reformed the English religion by military force. No one thought of them as harmless anymore. Puritan values became vital in American culture. In England, though, the reaction against the Puritans was more significant. They loved everything the Puritans hated: drink, theater, Christmas, and more. They found the irony funny.